started as a journalist, a man of words. But those words would spark violence, shape a nation, and destroy millions.
È ingiusto! Non possiamo più tollerarlo!
Basta, basta!
Benito Mussolini didn't rise through nobility or military glory. He climbed through chaos. With just his voice, his gaze, and his ruthless charisma, he convinced an entire country to trade freedom for fear. And what followed was not just dictatorship, it was a performance of absolute control, staged through symbols, lies, and psychological terror. Mussolini was not born into power. He fought for it with ink and rage. A socialist in his youth, he turned his pen into a weapon. His writing stirred rebellion. His speeches lit fires. But as the world shifted, so did he. Betraying his old ideals, Mussolini embraced nationalism and formed a movement based not on unity, but on control. Fascism was born not from strategy, but from psychology, an answer to Italy's insecurity, wrapped in pride and violence, and he placed himself at the center of the storm. Mussolini understood that real power doesn't just come from armies, it comes from perception. He carefully shaped his image, the strong jaw, the military uniform, the fiery speeches. He stood on balconies like a Roman emperor reborn. His photographers were ordered to shoot from below to make him appear larger. His propaganda turned him into a myth, and myths don't bleed. This wasn't leadership, it was theater. The more invincible he looked, the more followers he gained, and the more fear he could command. The fascist regime controlled everything: press, radio, cinema, even school books. Mussolini knew that the most dangerous battlefield was the mind. He filled it with repetition. Phrases like, "Mussolini is always right," weren't suggestions, they were commandments. Children marched with his face on their books. Art was censored. History rewritten. Enemies erased. The truth no longer mattered. Only the message did. If people repeated the lie enough, it became reality. And that was Mussolini's greatest trick. Mussolini's personal militia, the black shirts, weren't just enforcers, they were symbols of fear. They patrolled the streets, terrorized opponents, and created chaos Mussolini could then save Italy from. He made the people fear disorder, then offered himself as the only solution. It was a psychological trap. Create a wound, then offer the cure. He didn't just crush opposition, he turned fear into loyalty. People didn't cheer him because they loved him. They cheered because they were afraid not to. Every appearance, every rally, every silence was calculated. Mussolini spoke in rhythms. He gestured like an actor. He would pause to let the crowd shout, then cut through them like thunder. He fed on their energy, but he also fed it. This wasn't just oratory, it was domination. He controlled when people clapped, when they laughed, and when they feared. He crafted a version of masculinity that was aggressive, unyielding, and loud. And men tried to become it. Women were told to worship it. The entire country was drawn into a personality cult without realizing it. Mussolini didn't want to be loved. He wanted to be remembered. He dreamed of a new Roman Empire with his name carved into history beside emperors. Statues, slogans, parades. It wasn't for the people. It was for immortality. But the deeper he dug into his myth, the more detached from reality he became. Criticism vanished, so did objectivity. His echo chamber grew louder. He believed his own illusions, and that was the beginning of the end. When World War II turned against him, the myth unraveled. The speeches stopped working. The crowds grew quieter. His control slipped, and finally, he fled, disguised as a common soldier. The man who had built his life on fear, pride, and spectacle ended in silence and humiliation. Dragged through the streets, hung upside down. His legacy was not an empire, it was a warning. Mussolini didn't lead Italy with strategy, he ruled it with performance. He didn't conquer minds with truth, but with illusion, and in the end, that illusion shattered. But long after his body was gone, his tactics remained, in speeches, in media, in movements that echo the past. Because Mussolini didn't just build a dictatorship, he created a template, a psychological blueprint for control, and it all started with the manipulation of fear.